Hi, I'm Dr. Jason J. Campbell, and I want to thank you for taking time to watch my videos. In this video, I'm going to continue my analysis of Paulo Freire's Pedagogy of the Oppressed. The analysis comes from the 30th anniversary edition of the text. This particular section of the text of the lecture is coming from section 2.3 of my notes. You can get these notes by clicking the banner on the video or in the description field. Just click the link, it'll take you to the PDF. You can download and print the PDF and follow along. As I've mentioned in previous series of this video, as I continue the discussion, the PDF will get longer and longer until I complete an analysis of Pedagogy of the Oppressed. With that being said, I want to begin the discussion, and again, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. Okay, so this is Pedagogy of the Oppressed, and this is chapter 2.3 in the notes. Alright, so in this chapter, Freire is going to be talking, and he begins the discussion in this section of the notes. He begins by talking about this dichotomy, this division within the banking concept of education. And just as a quick refresher, we understand what the banking concept of education is. You have a split between the teacher and the student. The student is said to be passive, and the teacher is said to be active. And the teacher gives the student a gift, and the gift is the gift of knowledge. This information is deposited into the consciousness of the student, and this deposit is the act of learning. The more information an instructor has to give, the better the instructor. The more passive, the better a listener the student is, the more receptive a student is, the better the student, right? And this is flawed, riddled with problems, according to Freire. So when we talk about the banking concept briefly, this is what we're talking about. Now what he's going to talk about in this section is the dichotomy that arises within the banking concept. The first bullet point is that the division between, there is this division between human beings and the world, right? So one of the dichotomies within the banking concept is the division between human beings, according to Freire, and objects in the world, right? So we have human beings and objects in the world. The first thing to recognize is that the oppressed is in the world, right? The oppressed, right, the student, the oppressed, socially oppressed, are in the world, right? So we'll put oppressed are in the world, right? Oppressed are in the world. The oppressor views him or herself as existing with the world, right? So that there's a relationship between the world and the oppressor, right? The oppressor exists with the world. And to be technical, the oppressor perceives him or herself as existing with the world. In reality, both the oppressor and the oppressed need to be liberated, but in this discussion, the oppressor perceives him or herself as existing with the world, right? We recognize what this, so this is with, and this is in. The oppressed are in the world, the oppressor exists with the world, and we recognize what this relationship is, right? Insofar as the arrow points this way, right, toward the object in the world, it means that the oppressor has the desire to possess. I want to possess this thing X, right? I want to have this thing X. So I pick up my cell phone and I take it. Now I have this thing X, right? Insofar as I have it now, insofar as I retain it, now it is part of who I am. It becomes a collection, just another addition to the collection of many things that I have. And all of these many things that I have, the shoes, the clothes, the car, the houses, the watches, the rings, the whatever, all the collection, the amalgamation of all of these things that I have embody who it is that I am, right? I become the things that I own. And we'll see the implications of this, right? So there's a problem, right? The oppressor perceives him or herself as existing with the world, when in actuality the oppressor is not existing with the world. We'll see sort of the proper mode of existing with, and it's not this perverted sort of existence. The oppressed is a spectator, right? You can imagine that here is the oppressed in the world. Here is the oppressor thinking that they are existing with the world when they're not. They're actually dominating the world. So actually, just so I don't confuse you, I'm going to take this off. Right? And all that can happen is that all the oppressed do is spectate. They can never have. They want to have like the oppressor has, right? The oppressor has the big car and the nice clothes and the nice house. I want to have the big car and the nice clothes and the nice house, because we believe as oppressed people that the way I become and the way that I have the same status as the oppressor is through this act of possession, right? And this becomes problematic. The oppressor and I wrote this wrong. The oppressor has an empty mind, right? The oppressor has an empty mind. And the question is, well, what does this mean to say that the oppressor has an empty mind? It's a bit tricky to explain. I'm going to explain what he means by this notion of having an empty mind.